So I was in the middle of my annual rewatch of the Unraveled video about reading every Skyrim book when I couldn't help but wonder, how hard would it be to do that in-game, to collect every single Skyrim book? Is that even possible? Can you have them all at the same time? How long would a run like that even take? 5 hours? 10 hours? 20? Well, there's only one way to find out, so I present to you the speedrun to collect every single book in Skyrim. Official speedruns start the timer after you gain control of your character, which means I can take as much time as I want creating Bookles Dickens. I think we make everything as far to the left as possible and see what that looks like. That's unnerving. He's a high elf for two reasons, actually. For one, they are slightly taller than other races, meaning I'll move faster, but the main reason is that I'm going to need to be using a lot of magic for one of the books on the list. We can get into that a bit later though, because right now we have a Helgen to escape, although we won't be taking the usual exit that speedrunners use that bypass almost all of it, because there are some precious books inside that are a little bit easier to pick up here than later in the game. While I run through the rest of the tutorial, let's quickly talk about what I'm counting as a book for the sake of this run. The quickest way for me to explain what did make the cut is to honestly explain what didn't, and namely those are spell tomes, journals, and notes. Notes are pretty self-explanatory. They're literally a scrap of paper with words on it. They are obviously not a book. Journals can get a bit more nuanced, but at the end of the day, they're just notes written by long-winded people. You're not fooling anybody by wrapping that thing in leather. Spell tomes, however, are admittedly a bit more difficult to classify. I mean, they certainly look like every other book. However, I would argue the most important qualifier for something to be considered a book is the ability to read it, or at least the ability to attempt to read it. While you can activate a spell tome in order to learn a new spell, we don't know for sure if the player's actually reading that spell tome or not. They could just be eating it for all we know. And since we can't ever see any actual words on the pages, I can't in good conscience count those as books. Also, including them in the run would make it much longer and more tedious without actually making it any more interesting. And if you have a problem with my decision for what does and doesn't count here, feel free to contact your local civil engineer. Maybe they can build you a bridge to help you get over it. According to the wiki, this leaves us with 410 total books, but after reviewing their list, I did find a couple of journals and duplicates in there, so the actual number is right at 405, which I broke down into 6 distinct categories that we'll talk about as we go through the video. I end up grabbing a total of 3 books through the tutorial section of the game. Mixed unit tactics, got it! First book, everybody! First book! Let's go! All 3 of these books fall under our first category of lore books. There are 261 books I've categorized as lore books for the sake of this speedrun. There are technically more if you check the wiki, but we've sectioned a few out for some very specific reasons we'll get into in a bit. For now, just know that the lore books are the basic ones you see all over the place. In homes, shopkeepers' houses, sometimes random chests, and most of the time they're randomly placed, although almost all the ones on the list have a few set spawns that I'm going to be relying on for this run. This also leads me to my second category of books, a category I like to refer to as the Danger Zone. Prior to this run, I scoured the entire wiki and the UESP, but if you can believe it, it was much less helpful for this, for static locations of every single book in the game. I was able to find static locations for every book other than the 10 books I have listed in the Danger Zone, and all of them are listed on the screen now. This leads to the only real rule I've applied to this entire run, and that's that books can't be outright purchased. See, the librarian of the Arcanium in Winterhold, Urag Groshub, maybe, is a merchant that sells a random selection of books to the player. This would by far be one of the most efficient ways to get the vast majority of books for this run, but it would be entirely RNG dependent. Sure, I could reset his inventory as many times as I want to, but for the sake of not spending the entire run quick saving, punching an elderly orc in the face, and quick loading, I just banned purchasing books altogether. I'm bringing this up now because the whole reason for the Danger Zone category existing is that those were the 10 books I designated I was allowed to purchase if I could find them through no other means. Ultimately, I wasn't sure if there was another way to get them, and resetting for just 10 would still take a very long time, so I still wanted it to be an absolute last resort. Should anyone out there attempt to rival my time on this run, you're allowed to pick any 10 books you want for this list. Go nuts. Y'all, I like playing in Novice. I should be doing challenges in Novice mode. This is nice. Everything just dies. How do people do this every day? I'm not even doing one that's going to actually be like fast, and I'm so freaking stressed out about it. After making my way out of Helgen, next was a quick pit stop into Embershard Mine for our first skill book, which is our third category. The skill book category is honestly really simple. They're just the books that give you a skill point the first time you read one. There are 90 in total, 5 per skill, and the main problem with them is, to make sure you couldn't find them too easily, most of them only have 3 to 4 static spawn locations and are highly unlikely to ever show up anywhere else, making them honestly incredibly time consuming to track down. Boom! 4 books down! 397 to go! We're killing it! What do you think will be the hardest book to collect? Boethiah's Glory is probably going to be the hardest book to collect. Get to level 30 and it'll appear naturally. No, not Boethiah's Calling, Boethiah's Glory. 2 different books. Boethiah's Calling won't be an issue. Boethiah's Glory is only a very rare chance on loot tables that you may or may not be able to buy at the Arcanium. Boethiah's Calling, easy peasy. I have plenty of places I can go get that one. After getting literally 4 books though, you'll notice that my attention shifts away from them pretty dramatically, and that's because there's a lot of setup needed in order to execute this run efficiently. The first thing I do is hit up the Whiterun stables so I have a fast travel point that can get me to any of the major holds. I immediately use that to get to Dawnstar to go ahead and exploit a very popular glitch. I'm here for the Dawnstar chest, a very well-known exploit where there is a chest tied directly to the inventory of one of the Khajiit caravans that every time their inventory resets will refill with new items you can steal. I'm here because I need a lot of money. In total, I need roughly 74,000 gold to complete this speedrun. 63,000 of it is for our next category, and that's the home guides. There are 6 of these in total, 1 for each of the purchasable houses in the base game, and 1 that you get the first time you buy a homestead from the Hearthfire add-on. I have to collect all of them, and they can't be acquired by any other means. I'm starting the money grind early for 2 reasons. For 1, it'll help to go ahead and buy one of the houses now, so I have somewhere to store all of these books as I get them, so that I don't have to keep all of them in my inventory. And for 2, I need to grind destruction training. This is because of the book Power of the Elements, which is given to you by Feralda when you start the Master Destruction quest. And no, there's no other way to obtain this book in the entire game. Also, while every other Master Casting quest only requires you to get to level 90, the Destruction one's bugged out and requires level 100 for some reason. So destruction magic is going to be the only way we deal damage this entire time. It was obvious to me though that just killing every enemy with destruction magic wasn't going to be anywhere near enough to get to level 100. So at some point I was going to have to do a lot of training with Feralda. And it makes way more sense to do this while I'm at a low level when training is cheap than it does when I'm trying to get from level 70 to 90, for example. And so begins the next segment of my grind, training destruction with Feralda, pickpocketing the money back, and then doing it again, until I effectively can't do it anymore. Power of the Elements is actually in my 5th category of books, the quest books. There are 31 total books in this category, and all of them only have a single spawn location that are tied to a specific quest. And none of them are ones that start those quests either. These are only books that are found deep within a quest line that I will have to complete just to acquire them. These 31 quest books will take me about as long to collect as every other book combined, and contain such notable entries as St. Jib's Opus and the Nirnroot Missive. So I'll be sure to mention every single one of these specifically as they come up. After leveling my destruction as much as I'm able, I'm over the level 8 requirement to buy the homestead in Falkreath, so I'm off to help out the Jarl in order to gain the ability to do so. Alright y'all, it's time to talk about horse tilt. I'm gonna try something, and y'all are gonna laugh at me because I'm gonna be bad at it, but it's okay. So for anyone who's blissfully unaware of Skyrim speedrun strategies, horse tilt is a glitch that is the fastest way by far for the player to get to a new location that you have never discovered before. It's a glitch that up until this run, I had never attempted before. The short and condensed version is you park a horse in a weird position, get off of it, and then when you reload a quick save, you have an absurd amount of speed, which, when misused, can cause you to die very easily and just lose a lot of time. Okay, we're here. Did that save time? Probably not, but I've got it loaded up now for next time, and maybe it'll save time then. Nice. After taking out the bandit leader, I still don't have quite the 5,000 gold needed to buy the Falkreath homestead, so I go ahead and do the lion's share of the money grinding for the run right now, That way I can go ahead and buy it without any issue, and I'll have a good chunk of money for the next couple of houses as they become available. Before returning to Falkreath to purchase the homestead, I took a quick pit stop into Whiterun, mostly because I was paranoid that I was going to lose out on one of the few missable books of this run. See, Delphine is there speaking with Farengar when you return to hand him the Dragonstone. She's also reading a book that can't be found anywhere else in the game for some reason. However, if you have the Dragonstone in your inventory the first time you go speak to the Jarl in Whiterun, Delphine will never actually spawn in. So I have to go talk to the Jarl now so I don't miss out on that book later. You have to have this conversation first or she won't be here when you bring the dragon. Like if you come up here with the Dragonstone right now, it'll skip all of this and she won't be here. So I have to skip through all this, then go get the Dragonstone, then come back and get the book. But that's fine. From then on, we won't have to worry about missing it. I quickly pop over to Falkreath where I grab one of the block skill books and then purchase myself a homestead. Arriving to my empty plot of land, I found the Beginner's Guide to Homesteading, the first of the 6 housing books I needed to acquire. I also went ahead and built the small house, which has a chest inside of it that I can dump all of my books in. The plan is that by the end of the run, I'll build the main hall and the library so that I can fully furnish it by filling every single bookshelf with completely unique books, which is just something I've always wanted to do and seemed like it would be a very good capstone at the end of the run. But enough of all this boring setup tedium. It's time I gave you what you came for. Let's go steal some books, baby! I routed to collect as many of the lore books as possible from just Solitude and Whiterun. Whiterun was chosen because it's the first hold you come to, and Solitude was chosen because it contains the Bard's College. I needed to go to the Bard's College anyway to get the quest for King Olaf's Verse, which is one of the 31 quest books I mentioned earlier. However, more importantly for now, the Bards love to read. They love to read a lot, and I'm a greedy knowledge goblin who plans to devour all of their joy. We're literally just taking all of them indiscriminately, and then we'll check them all off afterwards and we'll drop any duplicates. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing now. We're stealing books. I took so many books from the Bard's College that trying to talk about any of them in particular would be a fool's errand. When I finish with all of Solitude and Whiterun, I will throw up a list of every book acquired so far, but just know that the vast majority of them come from the Bard's College. So much that just dropping the duplicates of those books was enough to make a knowledge summoning circle outside.
Knowledge.
That's it. That's all the ones I had Bard's College marked for other than Songs of Skyrim. Which might just be wrong on the wiki, if we're being completely honest here. After cleaning out the Bard's College, I was headed over to the Blue Palace where there were 6 books I was looking for in particular. Now there are a ton of books in the Blue Palace, but all but 6 of them had already been acquired from the Bard's College. Now I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of what trying to find specific books in a place like this actually looks like. Okay, so in the Blue Palace, we need Ancestors in the Dunmer, Biography of the Wolf Queen, Dwemer History and Culture, Ruins of Kemel Zay, Short History of Morrowind, The Talos Mistake, and that's it. Ancestors in the Dunmer, there it is. It's that tiny little one underneath there. Fantastic. Biography of the Wolf Queen, we got it. Speech increased, cool. That was a skill book. That's one of the 90. Let's go back downstairs and check in here. These are scattered so freaking far. This is the part that's gonna suck. It's like just looking through book after book after book to try and find the one specific one that I'm looking for. Well, I might have to throw in the towel on these and come back later if I can't find them in their altar. I have multiple locations for pretty much every book that I can go look for. So if I can't track it down in one spot. Oh wait, hold up, what's up here? Dwemer History and Culture, there it is. On a bookshelf in one of the bedrooms. Helpful. So helpful. What? I was certain that was gonna... Oh, wait, hold on. What? The Ruins of Kemel Zay should be on a bookshelf in one of the bedrooms. I feel like this is the only bedroom left we hadn't checked. The Talos Mistake, there it is. Okay, and then that just leaves Short History of Morrowind and the Ruins of Kemel Zay. Kemel Zay, I don't know. Y'all are gonna see how this is spelled and be like, what? Short History of Morrowind. Oh, they're both right there! Yes! Yes! Okay, huge, 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 huge. Thankfully, I did end up finding every single book I came here for, other than one that was supposed to spawn in the Pelagius wing. I can only assume it must exist after the trigger for the Wabbajack quest, and since this wasn't the only place to find it, I figured it would take much less time to find it elsewhere. As I leave there, let me quickly fill you in on the other odd and end books I grabbed while in Solitude. From the Temple of the Divines, I grabbed the Real Berenzia Volume 5 and the Argonian Account Book 2. In Castle Dower, I grab a skill book, The Rear Guard, and then also the Song of Pelinal Volume 1 and Pella Volume 1. Bits and Pieces yields Nightingales, Fact or Fiction, And then the Winking Skeever gives me Amongst the Draugr and Shazar and the Divines. 2920, there it is. Okay. Please don't open that. It took a bit of doing, but I was finally able to steal 2920 Sun's Dusk and Evening Star from Angeline's Aromatics before heading over to Radiant Raiment in search of the Fall of the Snow Prince. No wait, it's there. This is going to be a problem. What's the chances I could kill both of them? Oh no. No, the Snow Prince! We got him. We got the Snow Prince. The last two easy grabs here are actually both skill books, the Gold Ribbon of Merit and the Refugees from the Fletcher and the Solitude Blacksmith, respectively. Then all that was left was some light B&D for the Song of Hrormir, Arcana Restored, and the Charwich Konij Letters, Volume 1. I'm not going to pretend at this point like I have any idea how to pronounce like any of the names listed in these books, so just cut me some slack. Oh, I did also steal Death of a Wanderer from the Thalmor headquarters. It would have been just as easy to get it from somewhere else, but screw the Thalmor, I wanted to take it from them. Solitude, check! So we didn't quite get half here. I was kind of hoping for half. I think we can get the rest. I think we can get 2/2 from Whiterun. From here on out, I hope you'll forgive me if I don't mention every specific book I pick up from random locations like this. I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what entering a new hold looked like, especially at the beginning of the run when there's a lot left to get, but I don't want to bore you by mentioning every single one of them. If you don't trust me and want to check for yourself, I live stream the entire challenge on this channel, and you can check the live tab to watch the entire run if you so desire. After finishing up in Solitude, I dropped all those books off at home and then headed over to Whiterun, where I picked up 4 in Dragon's Reach, 1 from the Skyforge, and then went into Jorrvaskr to collect a couple more, where I very quickly began losing my mind. Let's see, Jorrvaskr, one's in the living quarters, one of them's in the main hall. Southern part of the main hall could be hard to spot because it blends in with the table. Thank you for the specifics. Southern part would have to be over here, but it specifically says the main hall. So like it's not down in the living quarters. It says on a table. It feels like it should be on this, but it is not. Wait, maybe this table? No? This one maybe? This feels like a troll. Where else can you find this? Mistwatch is the next best location? That's not good. I'm not seeing any books on any of these freaking tables. And again, it blends in, but I don't freaking know. Let's check the living quarters first. Great Harbingers, let's go ahead and grab that. Got Great Harbingers. Naturally, it'd be the one that's sitting out on this freaking table. Lycanthropic Legends, there it is. Song of the Return 24. Living quarters, into the hall. What the crap does he mean by into the hall? Unless it means down here, but that's Codlack's room. And it would just say Codlack's room, right? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't you? 56 again. Why do they have 56 everywhere and no 24s? Volume 24. Volume 24. It's haunting my dreams. Volume 24. Living quarters, end of the hall. What does that mean? What does it mean? It doesn't make sense to be in any of these rooms. I would not call that the end of the hall. Wait, what is that? What is that book? Oh, Marksmanship. This is one I needed to come back for later. Still need volume 24. Still freaking need it. End of the hall. End of the hall. Where does the hall thine end? 56! They're all 56! 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24, 24! It can't be in a room. I'm blocking off all the rooms. It can't be in a room. That's stupid. It can't be in a room. It has to be in Codlack's area. This has got to be what it means. 56. 50 freaking 6. It's always 56. Why does everybody love that one so much? 24 is my favorite. And there wasn't anything in here, right? There was like no books in here, like at all. Literally, he doesn't read. He just pretends to read. He just sets them all out here so people think he reads, but he's not the kind of guy that reads. He just goes in there and sleeps and plays video games. We all know you don't read, Codlack. Where'd you put it, huh? Where'd you put it to not read it? I want to read it. Maybe later, probably not, but just give me the chance. End of the hall. What hall? Where else can I find this one? Apocrypha? Anywhere else? Like literally nowhere but here and Apocrypha. That's so dumb. Now what's this other one out front that's supposed to be? On an end table in the main hall opposite the fragments of Wuthrod. Okay, that's more information. Fragments be there. This? It's not here. What did you do with it, Aethys? Unless it literally means like way the crap over here. That doesn't make any freaking sense. This is on a table, blends in. Wuthrod, end table. It has to mean this table. It has to be glitched out of existence. It has to be. Because of him. Because of freaking Athos. Athos? I don't know your freaking name, but you did this. I know you did. Where's the book? Where is it? It has to be on the ground somewhere, right? Wouldn't you consider this opposite the fragments of freaking Muthron? There's the fragments. Does it only show up later? I bet it only shows up later. End table. End table opposite fragments. This is an end table. It literally says the word end table. But there's nothing on it. There's nothing on the end table. Wait! There it is! That's not what I would consider... Whatever. It does blend in. I'll give them that. I went into Jorvaskr, not a huge location, looking for only 5 books. I spent over 15 minutes in there and still only left with 4 of them. To this day, I don't know if Song of the Return Volume 24 is in the building or not. I have no idea. And this demonstrates both the beauty and suffering of exactly how detailed the wiki is about the location of each book. Sometimes the detail's immaculate, and other times it's just detailed enough to make you think there's no way you could possibly be missing it, even though you definitely are. In this case though, I don't even know if the wiki was right, and that's sort of the catch of it all, right? I just assume the wiki's correct, since the game's as old as it is and the fanbase is as dedicated as it is, but there's no proving that. Someone could have just said that the Song of Return Volume 24 is in Jorvaskr and got it confused with Volume 56. Who's to say? I don't know for sure that it isn't in there, but it certainly seems like it isn't. Anyway, other than wasting time, it doesn't matter much in the long run. It's mostly just demonstrating the principle that while the wiki's super helpful, it can also very quickly be my own downfall. The next book I grabbed was the Enchanter's Primer, an enchanting skill book, in Carlotta Valencia's house, which interestingly demonstrates the exact opposite principle as the book I was just looking for. The wiki made this one so easy I didn't even have to look for it. I simply walked in, walked up to where I knew it would be, picked it up, and walked back out. The vast majority of the books on the wiki fall somewhere between Song of the Return 24 and the Enchanter's Primer, but still, it's an important thing to keep in mind as I go throughout this run, that how much information I have on the actual location of a book will vary wildly. I only grabbed 4 more books while in Whiterun. 3 of them are skill books found in some of the houses and shops around, and the last one is a random lore book that was in the Battleborn house. From here on out, the majority of one-off books like that will be skill books since, like I said, they're only in a handful of locations across the map. Let's pause the run for just a second for a quick status update. So far, I've gained 152 total lore books, 17 skill books, and 1 home guide for a grand total of 170 out of 405 books for this run. All of those are listed on the screen now. While it may seem impressive that the vast majority of these books have been collected in the last 2 hours, I can assure you that this pace can and will not be continuing, because that is almost all of the easy to collect books in the game. Having completed my first haul of books, I headed over to Bleak Falls Barrow in order to progress the main questline. Spoiler alert, I'll eventually have to go as far as beating Alduin the first time for a specific book, but we'll talk about that later. For now, I just cleared through the dungeon, making sure to pick up the book Thief along the way, and then headed back over to Whiterun. After returning to Whiterun, I was able to pick up our first quest book, The Holdings of Jarl Gjalund, which is the book that Delphine has that wouldn't spawn in if I did things in the wrong order that I mentioned earlier. Try and shoot at us. Try and shoot at us. Nice, he's dead. I'd like to buy a house. I'll take it. To High Hrothgar! Come on, come on. Come on, let me look cool for a second, please. Let me seem like I can speedrun. I'm not getting any higher. I'm not. I'm just flailing around like a freaking idiot. I'm not any higher than I just was. All I did was go the wrong freaking way. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Are we... Iverstead. We discovered Iverstead. That's kind of good, right? Wait, what if, hold on. What if we tried to take the actual 7,000 steps while we're tilting? It's not gonna work. I think I'm on the steps. This is the path that's intended, right? Maybe not. Am I still on the right mountain? Oh gosh. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. This is how you're supposed to climb the mountain. This is speed. I am speed. If you have any aversion to flashing lights, just look away for a little while. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I actually did it. I actually did it. Holy crap! That actually saved time, I think! In addition to progressing the main questline, while at High Hrothgar I pick up Whirlwind Sprint, which I don't think I need to explain why that's useful, and I also pick up 3 more dragon-related lore books. Then I just botch another horse tilt on my way to Ustengrav, but it does give me a chance to show off the Whirlwind Sprint glitch, where if you wait for an hour in the middle of a Whirlwind Sprint, you can continue to trigger it over and over and over again, and it'll work as long as you can keep going in a straight line. I didn't grab any books there, but I did go ahead and grab the first word for Become Ethereal, which will help with horse tilts in the future, so I'm less likely to die from fall damage, although I do forget to actually unlock the shout for quite a long time. Naturally, as I enter Riverwood, I'm attacked by the cultists sent by Mirak. We'll come back to them in a minute, but after going into the Riverwood Inn, I grab There Be Dragons from behind the counter, and the Rise and Fall of the Blades from Delphine's room, and listen to her ramble. When leaving, however, I immediately abandon the main quest for quite some time as I'm exiting Skyrim completely to head to the land of Solstheim. Now this may seem surprising, especially since even though I'm playing in novice mode, clearing the dungeons on Solstheim would go much quicker if I gained some extra levels first. However, it's very important that we go here sooner rather than later, for a couple of reasons. Both of those reasons are heavily intertwined, and they come from our final of 6 categories, the Black Books. There are 7 black books in total, and I have to collect all of them. And I'll be completing most of them too, since at the end you get a choice between 3 different powers, and a surprising number of them make a huge difference in the rest of this run if I get them early. The second huge benefit to doing the black books now rather than later is that each one of them sends you to a dimension known as Apocrypha to get these powers. Inside are lurkers and seekers. We don't care about lurkers, but seekers drop random books when you kill them. There are genuinely some books in the game that, to the best of my knowledge, have no guaranteed spawn locations and effectively can only be acquired from the remains of seekers. In addition to that, this is going to be one of the most likely ways for me to acquire the Danger Zone books other than buying them. Ideally, I wouldn't purchase any books for this entire run, so if I can pick up any of them off of the remains of Seekers, I'm certainly going to. It's also important to note that both the Dawnguard and Dragonborn DLCs added quite a few books, most of which are only found in their corresponding DLC areas. So there's a lot of other books on the list we gotta pick up while we're here. In Raven Rock, I picked up 22 new books in total, including Bone Part 1 and 2, History of Raven Rock Volumes 1, 2, and 3, and The Poison Song Books 1 through 7. All 22 of these books were of the lore book category. After grabbing those books, I quickly horse-tilted my way over to Tel Mithrin, where I grabbed 5 more lore books and met Neloth. Neloth's significant for 2 reasons. For one, he's just very important in the main questline of the Dragonborn DLC in general, which we will have to mostly complete. But also, after doing a bunch of errands for him, he will let you help him with his research. One of those bits of aid is to retrieve the book for him called Wind and Sand. Now, we'll never actually bring that book to him, but it is one of the 31 quest books we have to pick up along the way. So as I'm going through the Dragonborn DLC, I'll also be doing his little side quests along the way so that I can get that later. After completing a few of these small tasks though, it was time to start blitzing towards the first black book, which meant returning to the main questline of the Dragonborn DLC until I could get to the Temple of Mirak. Hold on, are we like close right now? Frostmoon Crag. Temple of Mirak, heck yeah! Oh my gosh, y'all, am I good at horse tilting? Is that a thing that we've discovered today? Am I good at horse tilt? I mean, I'm on the wrong side of it, but still. The temple went pretty well, all things considered. Oh man, he just got yoinked. This net me my first black book, Waking Dreams, which largely serves as a plot device and ultimately just triggers a cutscene for now, although it does enter my inventory when that happens, so we have officially acquired it. Guys, how many doo-wops do we need to get me out, okay? It's not that hard. After clearing through the temple, Freya insists that we go speak to her chief in the Skull Village, which was perfectly fine by me because there were 5 more lore books I could pick up while there. On a desk, that's so vague. That's so aggressively vague. Almost all of the 30 plus lore books I've picked up in Solstheim are exclusive to this area of the map, which is why I'm being so particular about grabbing each of them as we go throughout the quest. Leaving there, I had to go learn and unlock the Bend Will Shout to save the rest of the Skull people so that I could proceed with the questline. And again, things went really smoothly here. You know, honestly, not that bad. Wait, did I just skip the whole dungeon? I fear the lurker. Dead. After that, I head back over to Tel Mithrin to speak with Neloth about the location of another black book, and on my way to Nhardak, I do encounter his dead steward so that I can tell him about her to continue progressing his errands. Now, you may notice the time jump significantly between here and the completion of Nhardak, and that's because I completely forgot that this dungeon existed, like I wiped it from my brain apparently, and did not remember how you were supposed to go about the puzzles at all. Like I knew what you were supposed to do, but I couldn't remember where all the cubes were that you needed, and I wasted a pretty substantial amount of time here on accident. I'm going to save you the pain of having to see any of that and jump straight into picking up the black book at the end. Now this black book is where things start to get interesting, because this, along with most of the other ones, serves as just a dungeon that you clear through that gives you a power at the end. A dungeon that is chock full of books. As I go throughout the various Apocrypha dungeons, I'm going to be searching high and low through everything. All the dead seekers, all the vessels, every single table that can have something just strewn across it for any new books, especially those Danger Zone books that we've been talking about. Wait, and accounting of the scrolls, holy crap! Yes! Y'all, I cannot begin to express to you how lucky this is. The only location listed on any wiki for this book is sometimes found on the remains of seekers in Apocrypha. That's it. Oh my goodness, that's like the main book I was looking for. That's the thing is, getting lucky in Apocrypha can save time on a lot of the rest of the run, which is why it's worth it to be a little bit slower and a little bit more thorough here. Are you serious? That was one of the yellow ones, but it does have a guarantee. That was one of my 10. Not bad, not a bad haul here. No. Hey, we made it. From this one black book, I checked 15 other books off my list, including 2 skill books and 2 danger books. That's why I'm doing Solstheim so early, because this will help frame the rest of the run so I'll know what I need to focus on after I leave here. This did produce one problem though, and that's that Hermaeus Mora talked so slowly he somehow managed to break my camera, which when I tabbed out to fix it, made him start all over again. So that's a bit of time loss. No, we cannot have a crash right now. I cannot listen to this twice. Oh, my camera's broken. Don't know what happened there. Oh my gosh, I lost ground because of my darn camera. Having now collected 2 black books and having completed my first Apocrypha dungeon, let's take a quick look at where things stand. Not only have I now collected 230 of the total 405 books I need, but I finally made at least some degree of progress on all 6 of our categories. So let's keep the ball rolling. Before beginning the hunt for any of the optional black books though, I wanted to quickly hit up the Arcanium in the College of Winterhold for 2 main reasons. For one, after the Bard's College, this is probably the location with the second most total books in all of Skyrim, and there are quite a few here that we haven't been able to find anywhere else, including some cabinets that just contain randomly spawned books that you can steal. More importantly though, I wanted to get an idea as to what grinding out the Danger Zone books from Urag would look like. Specifically, I wanted to see how his inventory resetting actually worked compared to other merchants. 2 very good things came from this. For one, I discovered that doing the merchant inventory reset would pull up a new array of books and not just replenish the ones that he already had. And for 2, I happened to get really lucky. Skyrim's rule. That one, I could find literally no location other than purchasing it that exists of how to get this book. Holy crap, that's lucky. That's insanely lucky. In addition to the 1 Danger Zone book I got there, I managed to pick up 6 other lore books from the various shelves and cabinets around, which, considering it took me 20 minutes to comb through all the different titles to see what I did and didn't have, is honestly incredibly underwhelming. Most of these require key. I'm assuming he has the key, and I have a high pickpocket. He does not have the key. I have no idea how you get the key. I should have looked into that, but did not, because I didn't realize that they were all freaking locked. Unless there actually isn't a key, and they just didn't want to have to fill all of these with books, which would make sense. But at least afterwards, I had time to run home really quickly to drop off all of my books, which is by far the most satisfying part of this run. At this point, I'd been absent from Solstheim for long enough though, so it was back to the trek for black books, starting with Kolbjorn Barrow, where I could speak to Rallis to start the Unearthed quest. Unearthed is the reason for the other 11,000 gold we need for this run, and that's because you have to pay Rallis every single time you show up for him to dig another bit of Kolbjorn Barrow out, which will eventually net a black book. For now, I just pay him for the first time and then get back on my way. Then I was off to Raven Rock Mine, which all things considered is a pretty standard dungeon, albeit with a couple of cool gimmicks, and some fairly deadly traps. However, once I made it to the end, I was able to pick up the Black Book Winds of Change and head back into Apocrypha. Unfortunately though, this Black Book was painfully short, netting me only the 16 Accords of Madness Volume 6, Flight from the Thalmor, and Words and Philosophy. However, at the end was waiting by far the best possible power for this run.
Reading skill books give you an extra skill point. I mean, yeah, right? Yeah, no, this is the most use I'll ever get out of that in my life. Incredible. Y'all, we can read our books better. We're super book now.
Weirdly, as few of books as I got from this round of Apocrypha, I actually also picked up another one on my way through the Reaver camp on the way out.
Y'all don't have any books in here, do you? Y'all ain't in here reading, are you? Wait, there is a book in here, hold up. I guess let's check. Wait, do we have Red Book of Riddles? We actually did not have the Red Book of Riddles. I'm so glad I checked. Nice. We can solve some riddles later when we have time, which would be at the end of the speedrun. 2 gold pieces. It's gonna make a big difference. Wait, what's this? The Holds of Skyrim we have. Oh, is this their poo area? This is where they go poo. That's their poo reading book. You know, the book you read when you poo. Mine currently is a book called The Fear. That's my poo book today. A man's poo book is his own business. I shouldn't be discussing it.
I hadn't finished the hunt there though, so after clearing through a Reekling camp, I was able to pick up the Black Book Untold Legends. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm officially a fan of Untold Legends. I picked up only 1 lore book here, but I picked up 3 skill books and 2 danger zones.
You're not screwing with me? Oh my gosh, that's huge. That was one of the books that the only like guaranteed ways to get it was from the Fetch Me That Book quest, and we can only get 1 book with that quest. Boethiah's Glory? Boethiah's Glory? Oh my goodness. Genuinely, for locations on Boethiah's Glory, I just had a question mark. I had no idea how to get that book. I'm so excited. Okay.
On top of that, while the last power I picked up was by far the most fitting, this one was by far the most useful because I was able to grab Black Market. What the Black Market power does is allow you to summon a Dremora merchant in front of you anytime you want, and combining that with the merchant inventory reset glitch means that any item I pick up whenever I can sell immediately without ever having to go out of my way to find a merchant. While I probably won't mention him again, throughout the entire run, every time I see a chest, I loot everything in it, and then whenever my inventory fills up, I just sell it all to him, which keeps a steady stream of gold coming in. I then definitely didn't waste more time than it would have taken to just walk to the next dungeon by trying to horse tilt there poorly over and over, where I then had to clear through a bunch of explosive spiders to get to the next Black Book. The dungeon inside the next Black Book is actually pretty interesting. It's full of darkness that's constantly murdering you, which isn't at all inconvenient when your objective is to find all of the hidden books inside the dungeon. I found 4 books in there, although with not being able to see, I'm sure I missed some more. In those 4 though, I did find another Danger Zone book, and one that I would argue was even more important.
This is the one we couldn't find in Jorrvaskr. We don't have to go looking again.
The power at the end made all my spells cost 10% less, which just gives me a bit more longevity in a fight, and then I was quickly over to Raven Rock to recruit a steward for Neloth so he would let me use his Black Book by his staff enchanter. While this dungeon had a bit of a slow start,
Song Return Volume 24, again, haha, we get it. Couldn't find it, now it's everywhere. Okay, I get it. Spent way too long looking for it for no reason.
I still ended up getting 10 new books from here, including 1 more Danger Zone book and 4 skill books that were all on a table together in an optional wing of the dungeon. After all of that, I also picked up Mora's Boon, which is a once a day full heal of all health, magicka, and stamina, which I actually used a lot throughout the rest of the run. I had officially acquired 6 of the 7 needed Black Books. The last one is still locked behind the Unearthed quest, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Rallis after finishing the first bit of excavation. So in the meantime, I went ahead and progressed the Dragonborn DLC main quest a bit farther. This is because even though I already have all the Black Books squared away, there are a handful of quest books needed as a part of the main Dragonborn questline, so I need to keep chipping away at it for now. That didn't eat quite enough time before I hit a roadblock, and I couldn't remember if it was real time or game time that mattered for this quest, so I went ahead and headed back over to Skyrim to chip away at the Thieves Guild questline. It's not important why for now, just know that it's important for some quest books later, but after a while of doing so, I finally heard from the courier and headed back over to go through the first excavation of the dungeon. After clearing through that and paying Rallis again, I wanted to focus in on finishing out the rest of the Dragonborn DLC, but I couldn't do it actually just because I needed another dragon soul, and I figured since I needed one anyway, why not go kill the dragon with Delphine in the main questline. Unfortunately for me though, Miraak yoinked my soul, so I decided to just keep doing quests around Skyrim until I finally got one and could head back over to Dragonborn, or until I heard from the courier for the Unearthed quest. Since I was chipping away at the main quest already, I headed straight over to the Thalmor Embassy. There's literally nothing to mention here, I didn't pick up any books, and it went exactly as it always does, so we're gonna skip over it. From there, it was time to go pick up Esbern from the Ratway, but on the way, I figured I might as well properly join the Thieves Guild from the little bit that I did earlier, and I also picked up one book on my way through. Getting through the Ratway vaults was obviously no issue, but the time did tick up a good bit while waiting for the slowest part of every run, which is Esbern opening the door for you.
Go away!
Esbern actually has a lot of unique books down here in his little hideout, and I was specifically looking for 4 of them. But after grabbing Feyfolken 3, Magic from the Sky, and Children of the Sky, I made a bit of a mistake while trying to find the last one.
On the Great Collapse. Do you mind?
I actually didn't think they could kill me while I was doing that.
Oh, are you freaking serious? I hadn't even quick saved. I gotta wait for Esbern to open the freaking door again. Okay, that laugh wasn't worth it. I thought, oh, if I die, it'll just be funny, whatever. Open the freaking door, Esbern!
What was that I just said about this being the slowest part of every run? Anyway, once I got back inside, I managed to grab the same 3 books again and track down On the Great Collapse, which was the last one I was looking for, which naturally was right beside the other 3. After getting back to Riverwood to speak with Esbern and Delphine, I was able to quickly yoink Annals of the Drakengard the literal second he laid it on the table, because that's another one of our 31 quest books. I then maybe saved time on my way over to Karthspire and then followed Esbern and Delphine into Skyhaven Temple, where naturally Esbern talks for a very long time about stuff that I did not care about. While there though, I was able to grab Mace Etiquette from one of the tables. There's another book I'll need from Skyhaven Temple eventually, but that's the one that doesn't spawn in until after you beat Alduin the first time, so we'll come back later. Thankfully, when I killed the dragon outside, I actually got its soul this time, so I was able to head back over to Solstheim to continue the Dragonborn quest. After unlocking the Bend Will Shout, I just have to reread Waking Dreams to go back to Apocrypha for my final showdown with Miraak. Now, I won't be having that showdown, we'll talk about why in just a minute, but this book is still really important because there are more random book spawns here than probably any other black book. While it takes me quite a while, I do end up grabbing a lot of books here, but there are 7 in particular we need to talk about. The first 3, Waters of Oblivion, Legendary Scourge, and The Third Door, are the final 3 Danger Zone books. There's no world in which I would have ever imagined that the first of my 6 categories to be completed would be the Danger Zone books. I wholeheartedly figured that at the end of this run, I would have at least 5 of them left and spend probably hours punching Urag in the face over and over to try to buy them. This was incredible. In addition to that, there are 4 quest books to pick up here, the On Apocrypha books. They work as sort of quest items that by putting them on their appropriate podiums unlock the final door to move to the fight with Miraak. However, you can't pick them back up afterwards. Actually, you can never come back to this section of the Black Book again. So, I have to just take them with me and never fight Miraak. If you weren't aware, by reading any of the Black Books, whether it's the one you're in or any of the other ones, it will eject you from Apocrypha at any time. So, for the rest of this run, I'll be getting only half the Dragon Souls, as Miraak will steal the other half. Wonderful. Having finished that, I was pretty much done with Solstheim other than the last Black Book, but I still hadn't been contacted by a courier. But I did figure out that it was based on in-game time, so I figured I'd just wait a few days until one showed up. But that still didn't happen. So then I traveled back to Skyrim and waited for a few days there, and then it still didn't happen, and I was starting to worry that the quest was bugged out when I remembered something. I don't think I actually finished what I needed to do last time I was there. So after returning to Kolbjorn Barrow and doing what I needed to do inside, I was able to pay Rallis some more money, which would then trigger the next round of this quest.
Why do I have to open the door or whatever? Oh, is it just this? Wow. Here, 2,000 gold. Okay, and now we go wait for 3 days, and we'll get a courier.
Thankfully, there is a glitch that lets you wait for 24 hours in the span of 1 hour while on PC, so I decided to just go ahead and grind out the rest of this quest so that I didn't have it hanging over me for the rest of the run. I will say though, I don't know if this is always the case or not, but Kolbjorn Barrow did seem to be a complete mess of glitches inside. I haven't done this quest in a long time, so I may be misremembering, but I don't think this is how it's supposed to work.
Oh no, he's on the other side of this. I can't. Oh, that's... What? The game's breaking in half. Everything's falling and on fire, and I'm freaking dead. I don't even think I saved since I've been in here. I died to falling rocks. Rocks fall, you die. Where the heck are the Draugr? Is this supposed to open? Open! Yes, thank you. Ah! Okay, speak to Alice, that was it. What? What's hitting me? Huh? A spider? Where? I don't know what's going on! Hello, sir. They're dead. Take my stupid money. Oh wait, he's a nutcase? Do I kill him? Oh, he dead. Dead nutcase. Hello, my dude. Did I already use Mora's boon today? I did, didn't I? Oops! Mistakes were made! Do you freaking mind? I'm obviously in the middle of something. Could you stop conjuring the dudes I've already killed, please? Do you mind, sir? Get out of here, punk. Confront him. Didn't he just freaking get nuked into the corner over here? Oh yeah, get confronted. Just don't come back here.
I'll go to... It's the least I can do. Just
Okay, no criticisms. Good job, Todd Howard. Black Book, we made it. This is what we're here for.
Sadly, even after going through all of that, the Black Book dungeon was incredibly short. I only got 2 new books from it. The power's pretty great though. It lets me once a day cast as many spells as I want to for 30 seconds, which will definitely come in handy. Having collected all 7 black books and finished almost all of the content in Solstheim at this point, I find myself with 292 out of 405 books, leaving me with 113 total remaining. Now, 113 may not seem like much in comparison to what we've done so far, but I assure you, the hard part is still yet to come. From there, it was back to the main quest. I headed back over to Skyrim, got yelled at by the Greybeard, spoke to Parthenax for the first time, and horse-tilted my way to Septimus Cygnus' outpost where I gained 1 new book. Now this is where I was planning to also pick up Boethiah's Proving, but my dumb brain forgot you had to be level 30 for that, so I just sort of put it on the back burner and hoped I would kind of figure it out later. The main reason I'm pushing the main quest right now actually has nothing to do with Alduin and everything to do with Septimus Cygnus. See, he gives you the Discerning the Transmundane quest, which is sort of tied into the main quest, but after returning the runed lexicon to him, he sends you out to get blood from multiple different races of Skyrim. I didn't want to have to go seek those out, so I figured the earlier I did this, the more likely it would be that I could passively get them throughout the rest of the run. Either way you slice it though, this means I was headed straight for Blackreach, which is good because there's a very important book to get there. Blackreach is significant because of a single book called the Nirnroot Missive, which for some reason is the quest reward for gathering 20 Crimson Nirnroots, which I did have a map of that I found online, but I'm not going to pretend for a second like I knew exactly where they were, or that I had any idea of speedrun routing for Crimson Nirnroot collection. So I did my best.
Wait, hold on. We actually need this one. We actually need this one. Thank you, Blackreach. That actually was time save me getting lost. So if I need 9 more, there is one in this middle area though. Yeah, up there. I don't know how to get to it necessarily, but there is one up there. I need that one. That would save me time. Not if it takes me forever to get to it, I suppose. 21. Oh, I didn't even freaking need that one. Okay, we out of here. Got Crimson Nirnroots acquired. All right, we're out of here. We are done with Blackreach. Give me the Elder Scroll. Give me the Rune Lexicon. Elder Scroll!
Overall, while it was a bit of a mess, it didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would to gather the 20 Crimson Nirnroots I needed and get on out of there. So I was feeling pretty good about my time through Blackreach.
Oh no, it's freaking out because it thinks I need to go back in. Wait, 30? It's 30? It's 30. It's 30 Crimson Nirnroots.
Poop.
We not done. Okay, back we go. False alarm, 9 more. At least that extra Nirnroot wasn't a waste of time. Yeah, just the rest of it was. Oh man, big oof on my end, am I right? There's one like up there. How the crap do you get up there? Do you have to go through here to get up there? Are you serious? Where are they? Who's shooting? Who's blasting? Who's blasting? Where? Hello? Up there? Wait, the Nirnroot's not up there, is it? Come on, where is the darn thing? I hear it. Are you, and it's hidden? Are you freaking kidding me? That's one of them? This is Jake! 29, we have one left and I think I know where it is. Okay, 30 Nern Roots. 30 Crimson freaking Nern Roots. Okay. 30 Crimson Nern Roots. And now we actually get a map ping for it. Huzzah! Also, I straight up hear another one. Definitely more than 30 here. There's just only 30 on the map that I'm looking at. Whatever.
So as I was saying, even though Blackreach was a huge mess, it also took me a good bit longer than I thought it would to collect all 30 Crimson Nern Roots. However, I did manage to get them, and weirdly, to make up for the lost time, I had the best horse tilt of the entire run on my way out.
Okay. We're doing it. And we want to go this way. Hold on, we're almost there. And we definitely passed it. Wait, was that the right place? Did we just discover the location? We did! We discovered it! That's all we needed. End horse tilt. Wait, hold on. Is that a book? A Dance in Fire V7. Hold on a second. We need that one! Speedrun! Speedrun! This is on our list! Speed strats! Bookles Dickens is crushing it! Give it to me. Give it to me! Nernroot Missive!
After becoming a proud owner of a first edition copy of the Nernroot Missive, I decided to go ahead and just grind out all the home guides next, since at this point I had most of the money I would need, and also a lot of them have pretty strict requirements I didn't want to forget about. I figured I'd start with the most expensive of the homes, so I was headed off to Solitude. There really isn't much to say about this one. To unlock the ability to buy the house, you just need to do the Wolfskull Cave Potema quest, and not even the whole thing, just the first part of it. And then after doing so, Jarl Elisef will ask you for a favor, and after completing that, you can purchase the home.
Almost there, almost there. Land in the water. Oh, I was in the water! No, it's gonna save time. It's gonna save time, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, it's gonna save time. Okay, well that's probably gonna kill me. That's fine, that's fine. It's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. Fine, we'll do this. We're here. Definitely save time. We all know it definitely saved time.
After completing that personal favor for the future High Queen of Skyrim and having obtained the Solitude Home Decorating Guide, it was time to go join the Stormcloak Rebellion. Wait, what? That can't be right. So yeah, there are a couple of ways to gain access to purchasing property in Windhelm, but by far the quickest is to do the first couple of missions of the Civil War questline as a Stormcloak. So regardless of my High Elf heritage, we're off to go fight a war for the Nords. The difficulty of the Civil War questline is kind of a joke compared to the rest of the game, so especially when playing on Novice, things just sort of die as you get near them, so there's not much to say about this. It went relatively quickly.
Now we, go get more orders, and then we get to go do the quest that will then let us buy a house, and then we can get the guide to decorate said house?
Honestly, the most time-consuming part of this quest was when I branched out while attacking the fort to try and grab a skill book that I knew was there, and just couldn't find the room it was in for quite some time. But otherwise, it was pretty much smooth sailing, and before you knew it, I had the Windhelm Home Decorating Guide in my possession.
Are you? I don't know anymore, Rayloff. I don't know anymore. If you're not a book, you're not on my side. You understand? You get how that works, Rayloff? The only person who's on my side is books. And you don't look like a book to me. You look like a dude. This? Yes.
That just left Riften and Markarth, and I figured I might as well rip off the Riften Band-Aid now. Unlike every other major hold where you can just do 1 to 2 quests to gain access to purchase property, in Riften for some reason you have to do like almost all of the Thane requirements, so this one takes a bit longer than the others. Thankfully, I did loosely pre-route this, so I felt fairly confident going into it, and the quest starts with you having to be a snitch on the local drug trade.
To the Jarl! We shall tell on her! Excuse me? Someone's selling drugs around here.
After ratting out the dealers to the Jarl, she decided that wasn't good enough and sends you out to single-handedly take them down yourself, after which she then still insists that you become well-liked by the entire hold before she'll let you purchase a house. Thankfully, I was able to blitz this by giving a gold piece to the 2 beggars in town, running errands for 2 other random citizens, and thanks to the Stormcloak quest, I had 4 of 5 needed Ice Wraith teeth to give to the merchant to make her happy with me. I just stole the other one from Whiterun, and next thing you knew, Riften loved me.
Speak to the Jarl of Riften. Yes!
With that, I acquired the Riften Home Decorating Guide, but I noticed 2 problems from there. For 1, I was out of money and couldn't afford the next house in Markarth, and for 2, My destruction was going to be an issue. The money part was simple. I just headed over to Dawnstar, looted the Dawnstar chest, and sold it all to my Dremora merchant. The destruction, however, was another issue entirely. It was becoming abundantly clear that my destruction would not be at level 100 organically by the end of this run, so I had to hit up the college to do some more destruction training. But my pickpocket had fallen behind in level, so it wasn't high enough to actually steal the money back, so then I had to go and pickpocket. This joke blurs the line between content theft and parody. Also, it's from a different video than the one I referenced earlier. Also, the only reason for all of this is because I leveled my destruction to 90 and it took a long time and was super boring. Trust me. With that out of the way, it was time to go get the final home guide from Markarth. And I'm going to be completely honest with you here and tell you that there's absolutely nothing interesting I can say about this. Like, I don't even remember doing it. It was so insignificant. I reviewed the footage. He sends me off to kill some Forsworn and then kill some Hagravens, and that's literally it. Then I can buy the house. It's incredibly boring and straightforward. With that, I acquired the 6th and final home guide, therefore sealing out the 3rd of 6 book categories, which makes it sound like we're much closer to the finish line than we actually are. So now I found myself with 102 books remaining, 27 lore books, 21 quest books, and 54 skill books left to go. Now, obviously, one of those looks a bit more daunting than the other two, but we're still going to push it back a little bit farther to focus in on the quest books for now. See, each quest book can require visiting multiple locations, each of which have a chance of having a lore or skill book that I haven't found yet, so it makes the most sense to grind those out first and then just clean up the rest of the lore and skill books once that's done. For the sake of time, I'm not going to talk about every specific stage of every single quest. If I don't mention it, just know that it went pretty routinely and I didn't pick up any books. First off was finishing the last requirement I had remaining for the main quest, which was fighting Alduin on the Throat of the World. That fight alone doesn't earn me anything, but after beating him there, the Atlas of Dragons will spawn on a table in Skyhaven Temple. How on earth is anyone ever supposed to happen across that at this point in the game when there's not really any reason to go there? Who's to say, but I went and picked it up. From there, I decided to knock out some of the easier one-off quests, starting with King Olaf's Verse. There is honestly very little to say about this dungeon, other than after getting the book on the way out, there is a room full of Draugr you have to clear, and I just so happen to have a very helpful scroll in my inventory. Thanks, Apocrypha. I was saving that one. Not for this, but this'll work. From there, it was time to go start the Azura Star quest. See, about halfway through, you find the broken star by the body of Malin Varen, who for some reason has a personal grimoire there that is a book and not a journal. It's hardback and everything. We are looking for this, which is a book. Thankfully, I also picked up 2 skill books from the mages in Ilinalta's Deep, so that'll save us some time later. Up next was the Dream Stride from the Dawnguard Nightmare questline. I was actually really worried about this one because I know that dungeon does a lot of like weird hopping back and forth through time, and I was worried that after picking up the book I would get locked in until eventually the quest took the book away from me. However, I just grabbed it and sprinted out before anything else could happen, so this one was an easy pickup. Alright, so we have Dream Stride, and he's not asked us for Dream Stride yet, and the door's wide open, so I'm just gonna run away. We out. We got the Dream Stride. We're done. However, this is where the rate of quest book acquisition comes to a screeching halt because it's time to finally talk about Nightingales Volume 1 and 2. They can only be found in the Twilight Sepulchre after returning the skeleton key, because at that point Karliah comes back and fixes the place up and somehow I guess just leaves them laying on a table. They cannot spawn anywhere else in the game under any other conditions. So it was time to grind out the entire Thieves Guild questline. They'll never know I was here, like a ghost, in and out. They'll never know. Excuse me, boys. Don't forget, y'all don't know I'm here. They never knew I was there. I'm like a ghost. Guys, you're gonna have to let me through here. Thankfully, there are a few other books I can pick up along the way to make it not a complete waste of time. None of those are at Golden Glow though, so I'm gonna skip right past that to Hunting Brew Meadery, where I find a skill book and a totally normal, not at all noteworthy lore book. Oh, I forgot this dude's like freaking tough. Is everything dead now? Come on. Walk a little faster, Commander. Walk a little faster. There was absolutely nothing noteworthy during the Golem Eye tailing mission, as I find there pretty much never is. Other than that, I went so fast it broke it for a little bit, but even after fixing it, it still saved time. And then I was off to meet up with Mercer Frey to look for Karliah. Oh, what? Ethereal wore off exactly as I hit that thing. Are you serious? Get over the thing.
Okay, we're here. 100% of the time, 100% success rate with horse tilt. I'm crushing it. Get down here, Mercer. Stop taking your sweet freaking time. We're not on a picnic. Get in the sanctum. Get in the sanctum. Dude. Come on. You have freaking Daedric artifacts. Stick in the thing and let's get inside. Are you done? You didn't unlock the door, dude. How did you do it from over there? Chi blasted the door open? This is what they intended for this dungeon. Definitely taking it in, really making sure I don't miss anything. Fine-tooth comb kind of situation, you know? These doors aren't that hard to do. You can get through with the skeleton key, except that later you'll have the skeleton key and you can't do this, so that's actually a big old load of bullcrap hog water. How quaint. If you're just a good thief, you can just get through here. Of course, also you might have to have devil powers.
After totally dying, I was headed off to Markarth for the Dwemer Museum, which thankfully there was actually one book that I still needed to pick up from there that I hadn't found anywhere else, and that was Azura and the Box. Once grabbing that, getting the rubbing, translating Gallus's journal, and proving Carlia's innocence to the Thieves Guild, I was off to Mercer Frey's house where a couple more books awaited. They were just laying together on a table in his secret room, and the first was another totally not noteworthy at all lore book, and the second was the Red Kitchen Reader, a skill book. Then I was free to meet up with Carlia and Brynjolf to become Nightingales, and also pick up a copy of Purloined Shadows that was here. I still have to come back later, but I figured I'd just grab it now. Then I was finally off to clear through the Falmer dungeon and take on Mercer Frey, which I knew would be a battle to remember.
But let's go ahead and just use Secret of Arcana again. Oh, so much overkill. Definitely not necessary. Oh yeah, we gotta wait around for this to fill up now anyway, right? Don't worry, guys, I'm safe. We move in slow motion.
Speedrun, by the way. I did decide to break off from the Thieves Guild quest for a little bit right now, because all that was really left was returning the skeleton key, and, well, it can be quite useful and time-saving when you can just aggressively brute force any locks. That, and I remembered I did forget to finish all those chores for Neloth to pick up Wind and Sand way earlier back in Solstheim, and it was bugging me, so I decided to go do that now.
Someone else is using this. Oh my gosh! Wildly inappropriate.
I don't know exactly what I did, but I do know that I broke this quest line hard. What's supposed to happen is you're supposed to ask to help with this research, and Neloth will cast a spell on you. Then after touching some water, that spell will add a detrimental effect where you will come back to him, he will remove it, and then send you out after the Wind and Sand book. What happened instead was he cast some other spell on me, and I genuinely don't know what part of the questline this was for, but then it freaked him out and he wouldn't cast the one he was supposed to actually use. So the only way I could think to fix it was to do more of the chores he was asking that I'm pretty sure are completely unrelated to what I was trying to do. But regardless, one Heartstone and Briar Heart later, it finally fixed, he cast the spell on me, I took a dip, and then could finally go after the Wind and Sand book.
You know, that's kind of far away from my closest discovered map location. I think I may know a way to cover a large amount of ground in a small amount of time. Many people haven't heard of it. It's called horse tilt? And it just so happens to work 100% of the time, and I also happen to be very, very good at it. Would you look at that? 100% of the time, and I'm very good at it. I believe we're trying to go right there.
Which, funnily enough, after enduring all of that, the quest to get the Wind and Sand book isn't noteworthy in the slightest. It's just in a dungeon. After doing all that, I figured that the skeleton key wasn't really going to provide me any benefit since I had like 100 lockpicks at this point, and that there might be a chance that one of the Nightingale powers would, so I decided to go return the key now. There's not really anything to talk about during the Pilgrim's Path, so I finished it, met Nocturnal, picked up the power that lets you turn invisible in darkness, and then finally got Nightingale Volume 1 and 2. And just like that, we've cut the number of quest books remaining by a third. However, out of the 14 remaining, all but 3 of them are in some way tied to the Dawn Guard DLC. So, it's finally time to become a vampire. This number is likely a little misleading since 8 of them are all tied to a specific part of this questline. However, we'll get to those after we crank through the other 3. Before I can get to any of those though, I first have to start the questline at Fort Dawnguard, which actually contains 2 DLC exclusive lore books that we haven't picked up yet, and neither of them are noteworthy whatsoever.
Sultry Argonian Bard, Volume 1.
After that, on my way to meet Serana for the first time, I pick up the Notes on Dim Hollow Crypt, which admittedly is quite easy for a quest book, but it is tied to this quest, so it couldn't really fit in any other category. After getting out of there and getting chomped on by Lord Harkon to become my truest self, I was given free reign of Castle Volkihar, which is perfect because a chunk of the books we have remaining can be found there. Unfortunately for me though, the wiki lists almost all of these books as in a cabinet somewhere in Castle Volkihar, so this part took me quite a while. When all was said and done, I managed to get my hands on 5 of the 6 lore books I was looking for here, which was about as good of a ratio as I was expecting. Don't worry, the last one can be picked up somewhere else.
There it is. Boom! Redwater Den. I'm so good.
Then I just had to quickly fill the Bloodstone Chalice and just so happened to grab a skill book on my way out, and then something Moth Priest, something Elder Scroll, time for Valerica's study. Valerica's lab actually has a lot of rare books in it, but I've also found a lot of books already, so even after going through all of them with a fine-tooth comb, I only picked up 1 lore book and 1 skill book here before entering the Soul Cairn. The first task after entering the Soul Cairn was to grab the Book of Life and Service, which is another questlog book, as this is the only one that spawns in the entire game. But then after that is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to go get St. Jib's Opus. Now here's a fun little tidbit about me. The Soul Cairn is weirdly one of my favorite places in all of Skyrim. So every time I've played this game casually, I always end up getting to the Dawnguard DLC eventually and getting absolutely every tiny little thing that's here. I don't know why, I just think it's really cool. So actually, I had a pretty good recollection on where every single page of St. Jib's Opus was because of how many times I've done this quest. I'll be honest, I still got lost a couple of times, and I did have to consult a map to make sure I didn't waste any time, but admittedly, I actually had a lot of fun here, and before you knew it, I had all 10 missing pages and had the real thing in my inventory.
Pristine, first volume. Look at this! We've done it! St. Jib's Opus! Give me that book! Give me that book, St. Jib! Give me that book! I want to add it to my collection! St. Jib's Opus added! Let's go!
I also still had to finish what I actually came here for because I'm not done with the Dawnguard DLC just yet. No, if only I could be.
You have been slain.
What's up next is by far the hardest time I had with collecting any books in this run, and officially my least favorite books in the entire game. What I'm referring to is the 8 quest books remaining in the Dawnguard DLC, or more accurately, the 4 quest books remaining, but twice? I'm talking about the unknown books found in the Forgotten Vale. They're ancient Falmer texts that can be taken to Urag at the College of Winterhold for translation. These are also the reason why it's a little bit unclear exactly how many books there are you can collect in Skyrim. You technically do collect 8 books throughout this, but they are the same book twice, just in 2 different languages. So at the end of the run, I will have 401 books in my inventory, but I will have collected 405. Sort of. It does end up being sort of a weird technicality, but since I did have to collect both versions at some point throughout the run, I wanted them separate in my own spreadsheets, which is why I've been using the number 405 this entire time. You can pick whichever number you prefer though. In addition to them making the book total a confusing mess, they're also by far some of the hardest books to actually track down. There's no easy map of the Forgotten Vale to refer to, so most of the time you're just reading a wiki and trying to figure out vague instructions of where to get where you're going, and hope that you're not completely off base, which I was most of the time.
Unknown Book Volume 1. And then in this hut is the Unknown Book. Unknown Book Volume 3. Okay, that's 2 down. Oh, is it this one? It's this one, right? It's this one. Okay, Volume 4. This is a gate. Dead Falmer, Frost Giant, Frost Giant! Freaking die, you stupid, ugly, freaking crap! Give me the thing. Give me the stupid thing. Emerald Paragon. Okay, now I take this thing to the Paragon platform. This. Forgotten Vale Overlook. Oh my gosh. Okay, over here. How the crap is anybody supposed to organically find this nonsense? Okay, we got him. Oh my goodness. That was horrible.
I did eventually find and get all 4 of them in my inventory, but I wasted a lot of time here. I'm not gonna lie about that. This was by far the slowest and least optimal part of this entire run. After finally getting the 4th one though, I just split right out of there. There's no reason to finish the Dawnguard quest, and now I'll just have Serana following me around for the rest of the game, which I don't personally mind. At this point, I only had 3 quest books remaining, and there was reason to delay all 3 of them until closer to the end. Hi, editing Magoo here. That was a bold-faced lie. There are actually 6 quest books remaining, but only 3 of them require extensive progress to be made through their quests. The others are pretty close to the beginning and will be lumped in with the other skill books I get. I just totally forgot when recording. My bad. First is Power of the Elements, and sadly my Destruction still isn't level 100 yet, although there are still 3 Destruction skill books remaining, which means I'm guaranteed to get there by the time I get the rest of the books, so I might as well just push that one back a bit. The second is Night of Tears, or Night of Tears. It could be either. I skipped through all the dialogue, so I don't know for sure, but regardless, it's the book that Urag sends you after during the College of Winterhold questline. The problem is, we've needed to use him for other things in the run, and I'm not sure if you have it in your inventory when talking to him if it will automatically remove it or not, so I intentionally delayed it to the end of the run to make sure I couldn't accidentally lose it. And finally is the Ogma Infinium, which is why I started the Discerning the Transmundane quest so long ago, and still, to this moment, I have yet to find any Wood Elf blood. I don't know if I've killed any and just overlooked them, but I really don't think I have. It's just been very bizarre luck. Regardless, all 3 need to be delayed, so I decided to just take my remaining lore and skill books and just start going down the list and getting them one by one in the locations I had marked. And the first one was a doozy. I still hadn't found the 16 Accords of Madness Volume 9. I had found all the other volumes, but this one, the wiki listed 2 locations. Fort Frostmoth in Solstheim, and Apocrypha. And I didn't find it in Apocrypha, so I knew where I needed to go. I kid you not when I say I tore that entire fort apart. Over and over, through every tiny little inch of it. I found the exact shelf the wiki said it should be on. It wasn't, and I found every other shelf, and it wasn't there either. I do want to mention one other thing about Fort Frostmoth though. It didn't have any books I didn't already have, but there is one that I saw there that I thought was worth mentioning, although I didn't notice it at the time. See, at this point, I had found all of my Danger Zone books naturally, other than the one that I bought that just so happened to be in Urag's inventory the first time I talked to him. That book is in Fort Frostmoth. I sadly didn't pick it up, and I can't know for sure that this is a guaranteed spawn, although I think it likely is, and I just wanted to point out that it was there, and I stared at it for a long time, and that because of that, this entire run could have easily been completed without purchasing a single Danger Zone book. I just thought that was neat. Regardless, I needed 16 Accords number 9, and I was having no luck finding it. I went back through all of the black books in my inventory, going through as much of Apocrypha as I could, taking out every seeker along the way, and nothing, and I went to all of the notable locations in Raven Rock to double check I hadn't missed it on a shelf, and also nothing. I did find out that the Apocrypha dungeons in the black books will eventually respawn all of the seekers. However, when you re-enter, it puts you at the end where the Powers book is, and the dungeons aren't designed to be completed in reverse, so most of them you can only get to 1 or 2 seekers tops. I did eventually find a path in one that took me by about 8 seekers, and I realized that if I saved before entering, their inventories would re-roll every time I killed them, so I started doing that. Then, however, I eventually found something that made me feel really dumb, and that's that you can just quick save and kill a seeker, and its inventory will generate in that moment, meaning I could reload and kill the same seeker over and over for a new selection of 2 to 3 books every single time. 9! Okay, we're back on track. We're back on track, everybody. That would have saved me boatloads of time. However, throughout this process, I did end up finding 2 other books that were still unchecked on my list, so I guess it wasn't a total loss. With that crisis averted, in addition to my 3 remaining quest books, and of course in addition to the 3 other remaining quest books, I had 14 lore books and 44 skill books to go. Being completely honest here, this part's just a grind. The skill books all have static spawn locations that I had noted down. I just had to go get them. And for the sake of time and not boring everyone to death, I'm just going to throw most of them here together in a montage and we'll check back in afterwards. So it's supposed to be in this bucket. Aha! So that's a freaking lie. No, it can't. Oh, never mind. Yes, it can. Okay, not a lie. Sorry, my apologies. Lockpicking increased. Wait, hold on. Hold on, please. Do you have it?
Do they have it? Oh, he disproved it! He just brought us a book! We've had such a hard time getting that one. We got it! This is it! The best book in the game? This is what we're here for. I just so happen to not have had that one. I was gonna have to go get that one from Riften, and now I do not need to. 4 Totems of Holds. Heck yes! Notes on Eagle Bearer. Got it. Notes on the Lunar Forge. Got it.
Hi, me again. I know I said I would just kind of let this montage, but I also way earlier said that I'd mention every quest book specifically, and one happened here. Just so happens some of the random books were in the college that I still needed to grab, and by the time I got there, my destruction had finally hit 100, so I got Power of the Elements, and then didn't do the Master Destruction quest, because who cares at this point? But that's it. Bye.
Dead besties who died on this bear trap. Oh, one of them got their legs stuck and the other one stayed with them till they died. That's so sad. You do have a book though. Thank you. One-handed increase. Okay, now we can kill him.
Hi, me again. I said I wouldn't interrupt, but I did want to draw attention to the final lore book I picked up, Varieties of Daedra. It was found within Nightcaller Temple, and I had to look around for it while trying to dodge Arender the entire time because I wasn't sure if he talked to me if he would remove Dreamstride from my inventory. I managed to get it though, just wanted to draw attention to it. Okay, bye.
The Dreamstride, I can't let him have it. No, leave me alone! Varieties of Daedra, where are you? Where are you? It just says it's in here, it doesn't say where. Varieties of Daedra! Okay, we're fine.
Alright, with all of those checked off the list, let's see where things stand. Alright. So there are 2 skill books remaining. You might be wondering why I stopped the montage a bit early, but that's because the last 2 skill books are found in an interesting location. They are skill books, there are multiple places you can find them, but they're sort of acting like quest books because the best place to find both of them is in the Falkreath Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. Obviously, you don't have to go very far into the Dark Brotherhood questline to get access to the Sanctuary. Heck, that's what makes this even viable. But I did think it was kind of cool that by far the most optimal way to get your hands on the book Sithis was by joining the Dark Brotherhood. I just thought it was pretty neat. After grabbing both it and Sacred Witness from Babette's room, there were only the 2 quest books remaining. And if you can believe it, I still haven't killed a single wood elf, so we're off to do the college questline. Again, thankfully I didn't need to go super far in this questline to get what I needed, but I did need to clear through all of Sarthal first. There are quite a few books in there, and I probably could have optimized things by relying on grabbing a few here, but since it came so late in the run, I didn't want to depend on it. So regardless, I can just blast my way through the entire thing at this point. After doing so and returning to the college, Urag finally sends me out after the missing books. The missing books that he will never retrieve because I'll never bring them to him. The dungeon was easy to clear, and when it came to the caller, naturally I chose Violence, because Violence seemed quicker, and before I knew it, the Knight of either Tears or Tears, I'm still not certain, was safely in my inventory, and only one very fitting book remained, the Ogma Infinium. Unfortunately though, I still haven't come across a single wood elf, or at least not one that I've noticed that I beat in combat. If only there were some easily accessible, very noteworthy wood elf I could go kill and harvest the blood from.
Goodbye, Fandel! It had to end this way! Give me your blood! To Septimus Ignis' outpost! Have your stupid crap, Septimus! I brought it! Make the mixture, man! Make the mixture! I don't even know what that means! Let me grab it. Let me grab it. What am I waiting for? Get Septimus out. Septimus. Can I kill him at this point? Can I kill him and grab it? We got it! Time!
And just like that, I had collected every single book in Skyrim in just 22 hours, 57 minutes, and 29 seconds. Hello? What do you mean 5 more books? So yeah, fun little thing. Apparently the wiki has a small footnote section that contains mostly books that were in the master list, but specifically 5 that weren't. These books are Shalador's Writings, which is only available through a quest given to you by Urag at the College of Winterhold, and all 4 Master Illusion texts, which naturally are only available through the Master Illusion quest, meaning I have to grind it to 100 as well. But I've come this far, I'm obviously not going to let the challenge end with 5 books still out there somewhere, So it's time to go cast Muffle on myself over and over until my illusion's level 100. Thankfully, after doing all that, actually acquiring the books isn't that hard. You just cast the Master Illusion spell that Dravis teaches you and then go to their 4 static spawn locations and pick them up. And now all that's left is Shalador's Writings, which is ultimately just a fetch quest to a random dungeon, so it can't be that bad. Well, except that it did spawn in a Reekling cave in Solstheim, because Skyrim decided I just can't be done with that island just yet.
Shalador's Insights. Time.
And that's how I collected every single book in Skyrim in just 23 hours, 37 minutes, and 19 seconds. For real this time. Having finally accomplished such a feat, I want to very quickly call back to the video I referenced at the beginning of the run. The Unraveled video by Brian David Gilbert on reading every Skyrim book. I feel that in some way, I may have, as he put it, jettisoned his gift. And if it is perceived that way, I am truly sorry, from the bottom of my heart. But if it's any consolation, I only read like 6 of them. Before I wrap things up, I do want to quickly say some things that I learned and got out of this run, because I do feel I now have a unique appreciation for Skyrim that is likely shared by very few other individuals out there. Y'all, the sheer amount of knowledge you can glean just from where a book is located and what it's roughly about is actually insane. There's so much information you can find about NPCs that the game wouldn't tell you otherwise based on what books are on their shelves or even how many. Are they potentially dabbling in illusion or conjuration magic without the world knowing? Or do they have some scandalous material placed meticulously by their bedside? Whether it's laughs or lore, you can learn a lot just by what book is found where, and I think that's really wonderful and honestly kind of part of the magic of Skyrim. And without doing a really stupid run like this is all a bunch of stuff that I likely never would have noticed or encountered before. But when you spend almost 24 hours just staring at books in Skyrim, you start to notice some things. I thought it was pretty neat, and I figured that maybe a couple of you all would too. But anyway, I've rambled long enough, so thank you as always for watching and making it to the end of the video, and a huge shout out to all of the channel members listed on the screen beside me. Your support never ceases to amaze me, and you make what I do even more fun than it already is. And as always, until next time, I'm Magoo, peacing out. Later.